What's going on, guys? It's Red Bull Tanker and Airsoft Commando coming back to you with Korea 625 War Operation Minden. This is turn 9. We have reached the pretty much the halfway point. The game is now 19 turns instead of 18, but 19 still pretty much halfway there. Or we're halfway there once we get past the South Korean or Chinese turn, but whatever. All right, so just kind of recapping, the Allies have retaken all of South Korea and have put themselves ahead on the scoreboard, 30-28. However, last turn the Allies were dealt a not a I guess you could call it a minor setback with the note that Red China has entered the conflict and has begun surging its armies from Manchuria south onto the peninsula.
Definitely not a minor setback.
No, not a minor. I guess that is a pretty major. Like, I almost don't want to call it a setback yet because like the two sides haven't actually clashed yet, and obviously, when you go to the attack and defense stats, Chinese infantry don't have lower stats than their Western counterparts because their Western counterparts have better weapons, better training, better food. They're
if I recall, most of these guys are conscripts. Most of these Chinese guys are conscripts.
A lot of them are conscripts, but like veterans from the Chinese Civil War are also like spread throughout their formations. So
sure, I'd imagine
there is there is a veteran corps within the Chinese army that goes into Korea. Like there is a solid lower enlisted and officer corps going into it that fought all those years through the Civil War. But then there's also a large amount of conscripts that are conscripted for the war as well.
And then what happens midway through the war when a lot of those veteran corps members are killed?
Then it's basically back to then it's basically a lot of draft conscripts and whatever veterans they can still find that are alive within China itself.
So yeah, I do agree with those stats in that the replacement for that though is you get to pay only 2 for your infantry.
Yeah.
So I'm okay with that.
Yeah. And I mean North Korea. Like what's interesting is that North Korea, their infantry costs the same as Western forces, but they have the same stats as the Chinese infantry.
I don't agree with. Either they also have to cost 2 or they need to get normal stats.
Yeah.
I don't agree with that at all.
Yeah, I think I'd probably agree with that. It does kind of. I mean, I kind of get it for China because they're on a fixed income, but even then, that argument doesn't make sense because North Korea's they're pretty much a large conscript army as well.
Okay, historically they had the exact same firearms as the Chinese military did.
That's true. I mean, their soldiers were probably a little better trained compared to the Chinese because, like, the North Koreans did have Soviet advisors between the end of World War II up to just about the start of Korea. Like, the Soviets were in there training the North Korean army. I think that's how that went. I'd actually have to look up
probably.
And then, so I mean, they're obviously better trained than their Chinese counterparts, though their Chinese counterparts definitely, their veteran corps has a lot of experience because they fought the Japanese for what, close to almost a decade. When was the invasion? When was the invasion of China? 30.
Oh, you mean when they invaded? I think that was 34.
Is that 34?
36.
Yeah, so China spent 10 years fighting the Japanese, but even then,
I think a lot of those guys were nationalists, though, after the war.
There were a lot of nationalists, but there also were still a lot of communists. And then, some of Chiang Kai-shek's policies during World War II didn't help him and very much helped Mao. And I think looking at like Chiang's policies, like it's kind of like you can kind of see the beginnings of what will be his downfall in '49. That during World War II, like his policy towards like average Chinese citizens, stuff like that, like it was really just, man, you weren't thinking, you were not thinking ahead. Like some of the stuff he did was like, yeah, it's no wonder a lot of the peasantry turned against you when World War II ended.
No one. It's no different than the Vietnam dictator, in my opinion, though.
Yeah,
Very similar.
yeah.
Um. So why
Oh,
don't we? Here's just what I suggest for the North Koreans. If you want them to be a little different, have them actually be 4 to attack, 3 to defend, because they don't have the same kind of semi-automatic weaponry that.
oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, so they could still be worth 3, but flip flop their, well,
Yeah,
flip flop them with the West stats. That'd be
correct.
interesting.
Because I mean, that's all they did for the first part. For the first part of the war was just attack, 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 and they did really well.
Yeah. Or I could see it like, or I mean, if you want, well, I mean, you could also do the flip of what they are now. They attack at a 3, but defend at a 2.
I'd be okay with that as well, but yeah, they can't be. Then the cost has got to drop to 2 still. Then
Oh, even if you flipped it?
I would say so because the stats are still worse than the normal infantry. Why are you paying as much as I am?
That's true. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
make your turn as the communists.
All right, so for North Korea. Sorry, guys, went off on a huge historical tangent and all that other stuff. God,
That happens here.
we're like talkative history. How they go on their long ass tangents for some of their history videos. Okay, 30. All right, so North Korea collects 28 plus the 3 they get from the Soviet Union, so that leaves me with 31. I am buying 7 infantry for 28, and I'm going to save 3. I do not have any combat for the North, nor do I even have. I mean, I don't even think I have any non-combats. No, I do not. And I gotta remember. I'm gonna do this quick so I remember, so I don't forget that this jet is a Chinese jet. Oh wait, hold on, wait. What is my? Oh, oh, all right. Never mind. I can tell the difference. Never mind. I don't need a special marker. Okay. Um. Yeah, I don't think I have any non-combat, so I will just deploy my 7 artillery. Begin creating my massive defensive works around
Yep.
Pyongyang.
We're gonna prove that artillery's broken. Yeah, pretty much this and next turn here. Is essentially what's gonna
Why
happen.
do those chips seem weird? Okay. All right. So that is North Korea. So that is past turn.
Okay.
So you'll have 30 as South
Yes, I will.
Korea. Oops. What
South Korea is going to buy. What did they buy last time?
you bought? You bought 4 light tanks and a supply truck.
Oh, right. So I will do that. I should have bought only 3, right? Because I had 28 last time. Or I have less than that even.
Well, 4 times 6 is 24, and then your supply truck is 4 as well. So that's
That's right. They're
28.
worth 6. I don't know why. My mind was going to they were worth 7.
No,
So I'll
that's
take 5 light tanks.
5 light tanks. Then that should, yeah, that'll zero you out.
That will zero me out.
Okay, any combat?
I don't. Theoretically, yes, because I'm going to move First Corps into Charwan.
Okay, so first core takes chore 1. So 1 second, let me adjust the scoreboard. We have our first Allied crossing of the 38th parallel.
And historically accurate, it was the South Koreans.
Yes, but I think that was on the East Coast, not the West Coast. I think
It wasn't. It was, you're right. That's exactly what it was. But,
yeah, you're
well,
historically correct that it was the South Koreans, not historically correct that it was in 1951 and on the West Coast.
what do you want from me? It's a board game.
I know. All right, so
All right.
that's your combat.
How many supply are in Incheon right there? That's 3, it looks like.
That is 5, and your supply truck can come in, pick up 3, and then still deliver 3 to Chorwan because they can go 3 spaces and it can carry 3.
And
Yeah,
they
it
will
is
do
not
so.
winter yet. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. So that's 1 non-combat.
And then the other non-combat, obviously, Incheon troops are moving to the 38th parallel west, and so is the tanks in Seoul.
Okay.
I believe that is going to be pass turn for South Korea.